cycled through denial, then justification, then anger. She said she'd been protecting him from having to deal with the daily reality of caring for someone with dementia. That it was exhausting and depressing. That she'd been trying to preserve their relationship and their life together by managing a difficult situation. She said his mother was sick and would only get sicker, and they needed to be realistic about what that meant for their future. She'd been looking at memory care facilities for his mother's sake, not to get rid of her, but because specialized care was better than keeping her locked in a room in their home. She spun it all, making herself the pragmatic one, the one willing to make hard decisions, while David buried his head in the sand. David listened to all of it and felt absolutely nothing but cold disgust. He asked her to leave his mother's room again. This time she did, but not before saying they'd talk about this later when he was thinking clearly. David called his personal lawyer. Then he called a private nursing agency and requested an immediate assessment of his mother's condition and needs. Then he called Claire. She answered on the second ring, her voice tight with anxiety, clearly expecting to be fired or worse. David thanked her. His voice broke as he said it, but he thanked her for being brave enough to tell him the truth when everyone else had let him remain blind. He asked if she'd be willing to be his mother's primary caregiver, with whatever salary and schedule she needed to make it work. Claire, shocked, said yes. Within hours, Margaret was being evaluated by a doctor David trusted. The diagnosis was severe dehydration, malnutrition, untreated urinary tract infection that had contributed to increased confusion, and depression. All things that could have been prevented with proper care. The doctor was blunt. Another week or two like this, and they'd be looking at hospitalization or worse. Margaret was admitted to a private medical facility for a few days to stabilize her condition. David didn't leave her side. Victoria tried to visit once, bringing flowers and apologies, spinning it all as a misunderstanding. David told her to leave and not come back. The wedding was off. The engagement was over. He'd have his lawyer contact her about her belongings. Victoria showed her true self then. She raged that he was throwing away their future over a misunderstanding about his mother's care, that he was choosing guilt over love, that she'd done nothing wrong and she'd make sure everyone knew he'd abandoned her because she'd tried to be practical about his mother's impossible situation. David let her finish and then said something he'd realized during the long night sitting by his mother's hospital bed. He said that love isn't choosing one person over another. Love is how you treat people when you think no one important is watching, and she'd shown him exactly who she was. She'd treated his mother like a problem to be solved, an inconvenience to be managed, because she thought he was too busy to notice. And that told him everything he needed to know about who she'd be as a wife, as a partner, as a human being. Victoria left in fury, and David never saw her again. Beyond the brief, cold exchanges through lawyers as they untangled their shared finances and plans. The wedding venue was canceled.